Hello, and thank you for purchasing the book I wrote, Simplifying Chords. In a moment, I will give an introduction, which will be audio, and I hope you can take some time to follow along in the book. It will help you understand why I wrote it as I did, where we are headed, and how the book can help you. I look forward to hearing from you to know how it is helping you and how I can better help you in the tutorials. Thank you so much. Welcome to the tutorials for the book Simplifying Chords. I'm Elizabeth Goodine, and I'm so happy that you are joining me. I know that all of you are coming to this book from various backgrounds and for various reasons. I hope that this book and these tutorials will help you reach your goals musically, whatever they may be. Some of you may be classically trained and play mostly by note, but you would like to strengthen your ability to play by ear. Some of you play by ear. In fact, you may already play the chords I'm going to teach you, but you are here because you want to understand the chords better and be able to communicate more effectively with other musicians. And if your main objective for going through the book is simply personal enjoyment, I will be cheering you on. Music brings such joy, and it brings people together. It helps us create special memories. This picture shows one of those special memories in my life. That is me playing the piano and my brother Arlen playing the guitar. Some of my favorite moments have been when I was sharing music with family and friends. I hope that today and every day you celebrate the music that is in you. Even as you are studying and strengthening your skills musically, take time to enjoy what you are learning and to appreciate the music that is in you now. I would like for you to turn to the first page in the book, the acknowledgments page. This page is special to me because here I honor the people who have been a great part of my life musically, starting with my parents. I hope you will take a couple of minutes to read it. I also wrote some of the fun memories my brother and I shared musically when we were growing up. I would like for you to look at the last one on that page. I'm going to read it to you. To my husband, Wayne, an added blessing of sharing life with you has been sharing a love for music, ministry, and investing in the next generation. The songs you have written express your faith that has changed and sustained you, and the challenge of living it out. Thank you for understanding the music in me, especially when I somehow forget about other priorities and spend my time playing the piano, singing, and writing. And thanks for all you do for our family. We have had so many opportunities because of you. That was written when the book was first published in 2016. I also want to say thank you, Wayne, for your support as I was working on this book in its various stages through the years. You were so helpful when I would ask you for your perspective on whatever concept I was trying to present. Now, at some point, I could sense that you had heard the word chord more times than you ever wanted to hear it, but you were still kind and supportive, and I thank you for that. Let's turn to the next page. These are the words for the song I wrote called "Oh How Lovely," or Ode to Music. It is simply a celebration of the gift of music. We will come back to this song at some point, and I will sing it for you and teach you to play it. Now let's talk about the specific chords we will be studying. I will say each of the chords: triads, major triads, minor triads, diminished triads, augmented triads. Seventh chords: major seventh chords, dominant seventh chords, minor seventh chords, half diminished seventh chords, fully diminished seventh chords, dominant seventh chords with an augmented fifth. Ninth chords: major ninth chords, dominant ninth chords, augmented ninth chords, augmented fifth, augmented ninth chords, flatted ninth chords, minor ninth chords. 11th chords: dominant 11th chords, augmented 11th chords, minor 11th chords. 13th chords: dominant 13th chords played without the third scale tone, dominant 13th chords played with the third scale tone, dominant 13th chords with an augmented 11th. Sixth chords, major sixth chords, minor sixth chords, and suspended chords. There are several of them. How the chords are presented. Please turn to the chapter called Triads, beginning on page 27. Looks like this. As you can see, we're not using a music staff to learn chords. Notice at the bottom the explanation of the chord tones for C major triad. That's important. I will come back to that. And notice here the challenge for building your skills. That's very important. I will come back to that. And notice in preparation for the following shortcut. I will talk about that also. In every chapter, we will have chord progressions so you can learn to play the chords. In every chapter, we will have a review. Let's just look at this one, that second table, the larger one. So we will always have a list of the chords, the symbols that are common, the chord tones, and in the Triads chapter, we have shortcuts in this table, and then the letter names. This table is for chords built on a C note, and then I will always choose one more. At the end of each chapter, we will play Amazing Grace using the chords we just learned. At the end of the Triads chapter and the 7th chapter, we will work on inversions. And please turn to the chapter called Chord Charts that use numbers instead of letter names on page 159. We will learn to use chord charts like this, and we will begin this chapter sooner rather than later. We will actually start working on it while we are in the Triads chapter. Please turn to the chapter called Simplifying Musical Terms on page 15. I will read the first paragraph. This chapter contains some basic musical terms that will help you learn the chords taught in the book. Even if you have a general idea of their meaning, you may want to review the terms to solidify your own understanding and to learn a method for teaching them to others. So this chapter lays a foundation for how I present information in the rest of the book. I hope you will be very familiar with it before you begin the chapter on triads. When I was showing you the chapter on triads, I said I would come back to some of the instructions that I think are especially important. Here they are. My recommendations for getting the most out of this book and for learning these chords thoroughly. So, as I just said, make sure you are solid on the information and how I am presenting it in the chapter Simplifying Musical Terms. When you see the instruction play it, don't just read it. When you see challenge for building your skills, take the challenge and review it periodically. I can't stress that one enough. When you see in preparation for the following shortcut, take note of it. When you see explanation of the chord tones for whatever chord it is, don't skip over it. Even if it seems obvious, read it slowly and study the table directly above it. It will really train you to name the letters correctly. Learn all of the chord progressions and all of the arrangements of the song Amazing Grace in every key, rather than just in the 2 keys that are given. Now, I am pretty sure that I just heard some groans, because we all have our favorite keys, right? But little by little, if you will have an I can do this attitude, if you will spend time applying what you have learned in this book, you can become strong in playing by ear in every key. Why I wrote the book. Please turn to the preface on page 11. I will read that paragraph for you. It is with excitement that I present to you Simplifying Chords, a unique approach to learning chords. This material has evolved as I have taught private piano lessons, ear training classes, and a seminar session called Simplifying Chords, and as I have observed music theory students who needed help in applying their knowledge in a practical way. Maybe they once learned how to write an augmented 11th chord on a staff in a theory class, but at this point could not readily play the chord. It also developed from a desire to help my musician friends who had not studied music theory understand and be able to teach the concepts. How this approach to chords differs from the way they are presented in a music theory class. Please turn to the introduction on page 13. I'm not going to read this, but I do think it is important information, so I think you should make a note of it for yourself or for someone you may teach. And here is something that is also important. Please turn to the chapter called Questions About Chords, starting on page 169. We will look at question 2. At some point, as you are going through the book, you will need to clarify this for yourself or for someone you are teaching. Make a note of it now so you can refer to it when you need it. And this is helpful information for anyone who owns the book that was released in 2016. I will read this page and you can read the next one. With the exception of the 2 corrections below, a few layout adjustments, and the addition of the lyrics for the song Amazing Grace, the original publication of the book, 2016 Tate Publishing, and the revised edition, 2023 Goodine Music, are the same. You do not need to purchase the revised edition to go through the tutorials, but please write the following 2 tiny but important corrections in your book. And here they are. Okay, this concludes the introduction. Please go back and read through page 14. I will see you in the next video.